Okay, thank you, Mr. Mullins. I'd like to call to order the regular Board of Education meeting for January 21st, 2025. Before we do the pledge, we will have one memorial, and I'll hand this over to Ms. Warner.
Yes, so I would like to recognize Clayton William Bourne, better known to those of us who taught at Harding as Bill Bourne. And Bill passed away. He was a government teacher at Harding, a guy who loved political science, loved the Constitution, loved everything that revolved around teaching political science. Taught at Harding for years, then left Harding to become the assistant principal at Taft Middle School. And then after being the assistant principal at Taft Middle School, he went on to be the principal at Taft Middle School. He retired from that position and then went on to do interim jobs at Ridgedale, did one at Pleasant. There's another one, I can't remember right now what it was, but he did several. And then to make sure that he stayed in education, he also served 16 years on school board for Pleasant local schools. So he was a guy that loved to travel, loved sports, was a big baseball guy, took a lot of trips to Major League Baseball stadiums, actually got to walk the bases on Jacobs Field, played at the Field of Dreams and called his son when he was playing catch on the Field of Dreams, and his son remembers that, and what a special time that was. So I would just like to honor Bill Bourne.
Gotcha. And if you would please stand and join us in the pledge, and then we'll have 30 seconds of silence for Mr. Bourne's service.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Jolene, if you please call the roll.
Mr. Ratliff?
Here.
Mr. Weibling?
Here.
Mrs. Dyer? Ms. Swanger?
Present.
Mr. Geyer?
Here. Okay, item 3 on the agenda is approval of the agenda tonight. We have a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Geyer?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Ms. Swanger?
Yes.
Mr. Weibling?
Yes. Item B, do we have any additions or deletions to what's already on there? Or that's it? Gotcha. All right. Being that there are none, agenda item number 4, Superintendent's Report. Mr. Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Weibling. This evening, the student proclamations, we are going to delay those or postpone those till next month, a little frigid, a little cold, for our award winners to come out tonight. So next month, we will be recognizing Anaya Mitchell, and then former staff member, actually current staff member, retired, came back, still working for us, Sharon Owens. So that'll be next month. We potentially will have some awards where we recognize students for in the music and band programs as well, so we're working on that as well. Next, I would like to recognize the board. I know we did this at the work session at McKinley, but this is Board Member Recognition Month every year in January, so I'd like to thank the board for your service to the kids in Marion City Schools, your dedication to service, sometimes a thankless job. And I've said it's a job, sometimes it's lonely in those positions, and sometimes you take a lot of heat, you don't get paid a lot of money for it. So thank you for the impact that you have on students, thank you for your governance, and all the time and energy that you put in, for this district. And again, I think advocacy for public education is tough these days with some of the challenges that we're faced with. whether it's ed choice vouchers, whether it's charter schools, et cetera. So I respect you all very much for what you do. Thank you for your service. Lastly, at McKinley, you were provided with certificates from the students at McKinley, which was pretty cool. I do have 5 more certificates here. That's from We Are Ohio School Board Members Association. We have a membership there. They sent certificates for each of you, so I'd like to come around and just give you each one of these certificates.
Thank you.
Sir, appreciate it. I'm learning something.
Yeah, so you say superhero. So again, thank you for your service. Very much appreciated. I know all of us in here appreciate your time and efforts. Next, I would like to mention the Dr. King breakfast, an event that took place at the Palace just yesterday. Tremendous success, and thanks to the Peace and Freedom Committee for their leadership in the community of Marion. Marion City Schools was very well represented there. We had a lot of students who win awards, and I was very impressed with the performance with the young man from Taft. He did a really good job. Also want to thank, I know Ms. Dyer's not here right now, but thank her for her leadership on that committee, the Peace and Freedom, as well. And then lastly, I want to recognize and thank Brett McCreary. He did a presentation at Rotary this month on our new extracurricular program. And he did a wonderful job. Of course, you can imagine Brett is always very vibrant and positive about Marion City Schools. And he's been like that ever since we were in high school. I think Brett graduated in '94, and I was a '92 graduate. He hasn't changed much. He was always like that. So I think it was just a great representation. I had a chance to be there. Evan, thank you for being there as well as a Rotarian. And there was a lot of good questions at the end and a lot of positive energy coming from that. So thank you to Brett as well.
Is there any thought to having some of the kids present for one of those as a follow-up or not?
Yeah, I mean, I think we could, for sure.
Okay.
I think that'd be great.
Not to inundate them with,
Yeah.
but, just
Yeah.
to show the results. Maybe at the end of the school year, they
Yeah,
go to that meeting, or we pick a few or something. So,
absolutely.
Okay.
And what
Gotcha.
you'll know is whether it's Rotarians or whatever group of adults that care about kids, when you bring the kids and the kids do something, people love it. They just love it. So, yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, thank you. All right, next on the agenda, number 5, Assistant Superintendent's Report. Mr. Hayner.
Mr. President, the last couple of meetings, I've heard from the board how you would like to see more student performances and what our students are all about. So my assistant superintendent report, I'm going to invite you over to the cafeteria where Ms. Rollins is going to put on a little production for us with her show choir.
Okay, so we're going now. Yeah, right. Got it.
Field trip. Here we go. School board field trip.
Everybody's welcome. Mr. Hayner, anything to top that?
That concludes my report.
Concludes your report. Gotcha.
Till next month.
Thank you
And
for
and
setting that up.
unfortunately, we did not get to take the camera in to see
Yes.
that performance, because that was awesome.
Yep, no doubt. So we definitely want to see more of that, so. Okay, item number 6, Treasurer's Report. And starting with letter A, the board minute approval. Do we have a motion to approve board minutes from December 2nd and 16th of last year?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Ms. Swanger.
Yes.
Mr. Guyer. Mr. Ratliff.
Yes.
Mr. Weibling.
Yes. Letter B, financial approvals. Motion to approve the following financial items: December fund report, December checks, December financial report, and a transfer of $1 million from general fund to the permanent improvement fund. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Ms. Swanger.
Yes.
Mr. Guyer. Mr. Ratliff.
Yes.
Mr. Weibling.
Yes. And letter C, donations. Treasurer recommends approval of the following donations. Harding High School Athletic Boosters donated equipment for the facility at the stadium valued at $27,600. Harding High School Athletic Boosters donated recycling bins and carts at Harding High School valued at $4,640. And Harding High School Athletic Boosters donated trash cans at the stadium and facilities valued at $1,875. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I would. So two things. Number one, I would like to absolutely thank the athletic department for this donation, but I would also like to thank everybody who stands in line at a concession stand. Because if you've ever worked at the concession stand at a football game, you know, you can get there in the morning or get there at like 4 o'clock. Once they open, there is a solid line until the game is over. So that is what helps us to get some of these donations from the Athletic Booster Club. And all the people who run that are volunteers. So thank you to all the people who put time, energy, and effort to work in a concession stand. Thank you to the people who buy the stuff. And thank you to the boosters for giving this to us.
Thank you for those words. Can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Swanger.
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff.
Yes.
Mr. Guyer.
Yes.
Mr. Weibling.
Yes. Number 7, hearing of the public. Do we have any forms I didn't think filled out? As there are no speakers, we'll skip over number 7 then. Moving along to number 8, new business, line items. 8A, girls wrestling overnight trip. Superintendent recommends the approval of an overnight trip for the Harding High School wrestling team to Bellefontaine High School for the Iron Maiden wrestling tournament. Departure would be January 24th and return the next day. Mr. Superintendent, anything else to add?
No, other than the fact that our girls wrestling team has had tremendous success this year. I believe they've won the last 2 tournaments they've entered with 25-plus teams in them. So they are on the rise and on the rise quickly. This tournament that they're going to here is a very high-level tournament that will push them to, I'd say, measures they've never been pushed before. So I look forward to seeing them perform there and seeing how they do.
Gotcha. Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
Motion. I'll second.
Any discussion?
I just want to say, if I can, Mr. President, something like this, we see more and more of these overnight trips. I want to thank all the chaperones and all the coaches and advisors that are taking our kids on these trips. These are important for our kids for learning experiences. I mean, I attended the one with basketball in Erie, PA. These are tremendous to get our kids out and see the world because a lot of them don't have those opportunities. And the fact that our chaperones and our staff and advisors are taking their time to do these overnight trips, because these coaches and chaperones could have found something else to do. They could have brought them back and then just left earlier in the morning, but they're taking the time to do this. I think it's wonderful for our kids to be given these opportunities. And we're seeing more and more of it, and it's just tremendous.
I'm just getting started. Do well.
Yep.
Gotcha. Can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Guyer.
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff.
Yes.
Ms. Swanger.
Yes.
Mr. Weibling.
Yes. 8B, CTE robotics overnight trip. Superintendent recommends the approval of an overnight trip for the VEX Club robotics team to go to the Kalahari Classic VEX V5 robotics competition. Departure would be January 23rd and return on the 25th. Mr. Superintendent.
I think our robotics program speaks for itself. This event at Kalahari is a signature event qualifying for Worlds. So I would certainly support the trip for these 4 students and the chaperones and Ms. Holden for sure as well.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, if you have never witnessed a robotics competition, you should probably go see one, because there is nothing more amazing than to see schools, how they compete against each other, but yet they also have to cooperate with each other, because when they're in matches, they have to cooperate. But then at the same time, they're competing, and it's just amazing life lessons are being learned there. And communication, all the soft skills that we talk about in education, it's amazing when you do robotics. And what these kids can do and create with a robot is well beyond my mental capacity. So if you haven't seen one, you should go watch a robotics competition.
And you've coached and taught that, correct? Yes.
I did it at the elementary and middle school level, which is a whole lot different than the high school. I could not coach at the high school level.
Gotcha.
I could supervise, that's all I could do.
Well, it should be important for us to point out that this is, the wrestling in this is money raised or given by the community, or donations, or parents. This is not board money, I guess, taxpayer money. This is like they're out raising it themselves, or even more kudos for the coaches and the advisors and chaperones, because they're out raising the money to do these trips. So, yeah, this is great.
Similar to the singers program, we do the show choir
Yeah.
program too. So just thank you so much to the community. Can we call the roll, please?
Mr. Guyer.
Yes.
Ms. Swanger.
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff.
Yes.
Mr. Weibling.
Yes. Agenda number 9, new business agreements and contracts. Can somebody help with the pronunciation?
Savas.
Savas Biology. Thank you. The superintendent recommends approval of the Savas Biology curriculum adoption. Mr. Superintendent.
Yeah, so this was a process that started back in the summer of 2024. We had a team of people that compared several different curriculums. The team included teachers, ISs, admin, and of course vendor representatives. The team selected Miller Levine Biology, of course. Some of the why. It's ODEW approved publisher. Translations available in multiple languages. It's scaffolded lab supports for students and teachers. It's digital teacher resource bank. It has a single sign-on for rostering through, is it Clever? And affordable print materials, and then it's affordable 6-year license as well.
What grade levels?
Grade levels.
High school. Gotcha.
Is this the main curriculum? Or is this a supplemental?
For biology.
Okay. So this isn't a supplemental, this is the main for biology? All right, thanks.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Second.
Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Guyer.
Yes.
Ms. Swanger.
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff.
Yes.
Mr. Weibling.
Yes. Agenda item 9B, gifted service plan. The superintendent recommends approval of the following Marion City Schools gifted service plan.
Yeah, so this is the Marion City Schools policy and plan for identification of service of children who are gifted. It's a requirement, must send to the state each and every year. Some of the plan changes, only from last year, include streamlined our service plan. Dates for the parent referrals keeps us compliant, keeps it efficient, October and February 1. Mid and first grade service starting next year. Tests are not as reliable with young students and give students time for language acquisition and learning before services are applied. Then lastly, added that when identified services are start following the year, ensure equity and access, and currently we are not doing that. So I recommend your support for this plan.
Gotcha. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? I guess I have a question just in general, and this refers more specifically to the identification process, correct? Where, if we can generally say, where would you say we are with our gifted program for Marion City Schools?
That's
Needs
a lot
some
of-
work, needs a lot of work.
Yeah, it needs, I don't want to speak out of turn here because Dr. Garley will speak about this, but we're doing a lot of work around that. Why don't you touch base on
Thank you
contract
very
and
much.
services and kind of where we're at with that right now?
So currently, oh, this is not on. Did you turn it on? You can hear me anyway. I'll talk loud. I don't know. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. Currently, I would say that our services are happening. Children in the program are being served. What we're finding is the identification process is not happening as quickly as it should be. So we've made some staffing changes, and currently, we talked about this at the curriculum committee, we currently have contracted a gifted support specialist who revamped the service plan, which we're asking your approval on, to keep us compliant. We did remove first grade service only because what most people find are the reliability of the assessments when you're identifying a young learner they are not as valid, and then that gives our K-1s time for language acquisition, some of the learning processes before they are screened. They would be screened first grade later in the year to start service second grade. So that was a change. But I think what I would say is we are not testing as efficiently as we should according to our screener. We are also duplicating some tests that are unnecessary, extra work for staff. But we've gotten most of that cleaned up as of now. So I feel good where we are. Jen Wellman's been helping a lot. Dr. Alleg, our specialist, has been helping us. So I think moving forward, I feel really good about it. We were going to have some gifted PD, but I know the weather changed that, so we will continue with that with our staff. So.
Okay, thank you for the focus.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Discussion? Can we call the roll, please?
Mrs. Swanger,
Yes.
Mr. Guyer,
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff,
Yes.
Mr. Weibling,
Yes. A 9C, amendment to Ohio Specialty Services contract. The superintendent recommends the amendment to the Ohio Specialty contract for transportation services to high road students. Mr. Superintendent.
Yes, thank you. So this was a contract that was put in front of the board last month and passed. Again, as you had stated, Mr. Weibling, this is an amendment to that contract. The contract attached was originally sent for approval with changes marked in red. That version was agreed to by Ohio Specialty to move forward. The last version sent by legal did not match the original version, which was marked up. In regards to number 4, the costs associated with the contract itself, which was $5,700. The difference in the cost of the $5,700 per month a school originally was based upon that dollar amount could be lessened if we had a calamity day, for example. Well, there was some type of miscommunication in that process, and our legal team said it could have been some type of technical issue with what was being transferred back and forth, right? Could have been missed. So ultimately, the cost for us in-house for providing the same service is around $4,700 per month versus the $5,700 we'd be contracting services out. However, remember, we're gaining a driver, and we're also gaining 2 aides out of the service. So based off of our shortage with transportation, and if you remember a couple months ago, we brought forward a OPSI memorandum of understanding to get agreement to be able to contract services out. That's what we're doing here, and this is just an amendment to that. So with all that being said, the $5,700 is a flat amount each month rather than potentially being prorated on a little bit less amount based on calamity days. Ideally, at the end of the day, I will tell you that $5,700 a month is a good deal.
And you said we added another driver and
2 aides.
two aides. Gotcha.
Yes. So I'm just asking for approval for amendment of that contract.
Gotcha. Do we have a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
Just one quick question. The amendment to this doesn't impact that OPSI MOU, correct?
No, it does not.
Okay.
No.
Okay, call the roll, please.
Mr. Guyer,
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff,
Yes.
Ms. Swanger,
Yes.
Mr. Weibling,
Yes. Agenda item number 10, executive session. We have a motion to adjourn for the purpose, actually, for number 1, in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code, the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official, or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual. I move that we go to executive session.
Can we also add
Yes.
number 3, because I saw Mr.
If we
Russell
can
walked
get
in,
both of
so-
those? Yes, so number 1 and number 3. Number 3, in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code, conferences with an attorney for the public body concerning disputes involving the public body that are the subject of pending or imminent court action.
So we can get him out as quickly as possible to respect his time. Yeah.
Mr. President, you may want to consider number 6 around security as well. That's okay?
Yes, absolutely. Anybody object with doing the reason number 3 first? So we can get Mr. Russell back there. Okay. All right, time is 6:49. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
you already made the
Already
motion,
did.
so you're
Second.
seconding.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Not to adjourn.
Then not to
into
adjourn,
executive
to go to
session.
executive
Yeah,
session.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Mr. Weibling,
Yes.
Ms. Swanger,
Yes,
Mr. Guyer,
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff,
Yes.
6:49.
Yep, that's what I got. Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Ms. Swanger,
Yes.
Mr. Guyer,
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff,
Yes.
Mr. Weibling,
Yes. Motion carries. There were no items removed, so we can skip 13, go to 14, board announcements. We have the regularly scheduled board meetings on the third Monday. And we discussed this last time in terms of just, I think, one more holiday coming up that'll change that. Kevin discussed earlier the work session schedule that we're in the process of putting together, the locations, and actually even the purpose behind that, which we discussed a little bit last week, for the schools to kind of show their personality. What are they doing? But also, the original intent of those meetings was for the schools to let us know what's working, what isn't working, what do we need to tweak, what do they need help with. I would definitely like to see more of that to give them the opportunity to voice those concerns or tell us what we're doing right. Okay, number 15, committee reports. Rocky, have you got anything out of extracurricular?
No, I mean, I think we haven't had a meeting in a second, but I think the extracurricular department keeps expanding, their activities and student involvement, as well as, obviously, this winter sports season. We're having a heck of a season with girls winning tournaments. We got boys teams with guys in finals and tournaments. We got the basketball team performing very well. Top of the conference, 1-2 in the conference, and then we got, girls winning tournaments. I mean, everybody is performing excellent. Female basketball player just hit 1,000 points. It's just phenomenal what's going on. And I think Mr. Guy was reporting to us there was a couple athletes deciding to go to colleges. I don't know the names.
Yeah, Cameron Bieberman and Abby Metzer. I believe their college signing is rescheduled for this week. Mr. Kern's left, so.
Yeah, for playing softball, right?
Yeah, playing
Yeah, I
softball,
mean, it's amazing the run on athletics we're having this winter, so.
Yeah, and I know all four, Sean Kearns and his staff are busy, so we'll make sure that we get a meeting set up. Evan, anything from Buildings and Grounds?
Nothing new.
Gotcha. Kathy, curriculum?
So we already voted on the biology curriculum. So we talked about the biology curriculum and what all was in that. We talked about the talented and gifted, or the gifted program. And so we're talking about that, and then we're just looking at enrollment and some different things we can do for programming in the upcoming years, but nothing specific yet.
Okay. Finance?
Finance,
Nothing new because we haven't met yet.
Okay. And then policy and personnel, we met before this meeting tonight. There's just a lot coming our way in terms of amendments to old policies and updating our policies, and you'll hear a lot more of those. So there could be some where we are getting 8 to 10 at a time, so just be ready for that. I think we mentioned that. Legislative liaison, anything?
I think we gotta start watching whatever bill we were, Senate bill, whatever, that might affect our security at some point.
Gotcha. That was Alyssa's?
Alyssa's Law.
Alyssa's Law.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
They had just
Yep,
entered,
we
so.
do have eyes on that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
We have eyes
Just
on
got
it.
a little bit more, yeah.
And the governor is set to release his proposal for the budget. He has to have it released by February 3rd, so then that process will start. So it should be an interesting process this time around.
Okay.
It always is, but I'm a little anxious based on some comments, so.
Gotcha. Okay, number 16, policy readings and approval, and this would be the final reading. The superintendent recommends the approval of the following board policy, 6240. I do not have a printed version with me, but again, we discussed it last week as well. So this is the final reading for that, correct?
This will be the final reading for those
Okay.
two. Yes.
Do we have a motion to approve?
It's only one, right? You pulled the
Yes,
one?
pull the immunization, yeah. I'll make a
Motion to
motion.
approve, yeah.
I'll make a motion.
You're making it? I'll second.
Any discussion? Call a roll, please.
Mr. Weibling?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Ms. Swanger?
Yes.
Mr. Guyer?
Yes.
Okay, do we have any further reason to go back into executive session? Didn't think so. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Ms. Swanger?
Yes.
Mr. Guyer?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Weibling?
Yes, at 8:15 p.m. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Mullins.
As
Thanks,
always.
Mr. Mullins.